The Magic Thief, Chapter 21. Even from outside and across the room, I could see it absolutely clearly. The jewel was about as big as the palm of my hand, leaf shaped and leaf colored, and faceted all over so that it glittered in the light. Are you ever coming back to the Academicos? Rowan asked. The jewel was the centerpiece of the lady's necklace, which looked like it was made of diamonds and smaller green jewels, but I didn't care about the other stuff, only the one that was mine, the leaf jewel. Con? Rowan asked. What? Oh, the academicos. I don't know, I said. Do you see that lady over there? I pointed. The woman was sitting on a fancy chair, speaking to some people gathered around her. She wore a dark green dress similar to Rowan's, and my jewel glimmered against the green, almost as if it was calling to me. Rowan leaned over to follow where my finger was pointing. Yes, I see her. Do you know where she lives? I could sneak into her house, wherever it was, and steal the jewel after she'd gone to sleep. Easy. She lives here, Rowan said. She looked at me with a half smile on her face. She's the Duchess. Oh, right. Well then, I wouldn't have far to go, would I? All I had to do was wait for the party to end, and in I would go. It'd be risky, but it'd be worth it to get the jewel. At the other end of the terrace, one of the window doors opened. Lady Rowan, a deep voice called, accompanied by light music and laughter from the party. Before he saw me, I ducked behind Rowan, then went over the low wall, where I crouched in the shadows. Up on the terrace, Rowan scuffed around, erasing my footprints, I guessed. Yes, I'm here, Argent, she said. She sounded annoyed. I needed a breath of air. You should come in. The night is exceedingly cold. It wasn't that cold. Rowan murmured something in response, and they went in, the door closing with a polite click behind them. The night felt suddenly very empty. Snow wafted down from overhead, and the party windows shed their bright light across the shadowed garden. I needed some place quiet and dark to wait until everybody went home and the Dawn Palace went to sleep. The wall where I'd come in was as good a place as any. Staying close to the shadows, I crept through the garden and back to the wall, where I settled behind a bush. The night deepened, the snow stopped falling, and the clouds drew off, leaving the sky velvet black and pricked with stars. The cold seeped into my bones, but I couldn't manage to care about it. The lights from the party went out, one by one, and the faint sound of music and laughter faded away. I got to my feet and paced back and forth behind my bush, my hand on the wall to steady myself. Every part of me tingled with excitement, like tiny needles pricking over my skin, making my hair stand up on end and my fingers twitch. It was time. I took off my coat and scarf because the black sweater Bennett had knitted for me would blend more easily with the shadows. Quiet, I eased from behind the bush and ran lightly across the garden, and then up onto the terrace to the windowed doors. I crouched there for a moment. Nothing moved in the garden. Stars glittered overhead. Beyond the palace, the faintest touch of gray stained the eastern sky. Morning wasn't too far off. No matter. I'd be in and out in minutes. I knew exactly where the leaf jewel was. I tried the door, but it was locked, so I pulled out my knife and stuck it in the lock. It turned, smooth as butter, and the door clicked open. I slid inside, closing the door behind me. I was in a ballroom, huge and dark and echoey, smelling faintly of sweat and leftover flowers from the party. I took off my boots and socks and put them next to the door where I could pick them up on my way out. Keeping to the edge of the ballroom, I barefooted to a dark doorway which led in the direction of my jewel and paused to listen. Nothing. Only silence. I eased into the shadowed hallway and wound my way deeper into the palace. I turned a corner, then another, and went up a flight of stairs. I met no one, saw no lights. I came to yet another corner and peeked around, finding a long carpeted hallway lit by a single whirlight turned low. Halfway along the hall was a door, which was blocked by a huge, alert guardsman wearing a green uniform and holding a pike. As I snuck another look at him, he turned his head to survey the dark hallway, and I drew back into the shadows, holding my breath. Drats! That guard was a lock I could not pick. But the leaf jewel was behind that door, which meant I had to get in. Find a window, maybe, and go in from outside? Try to distract the guard? Hide and wait for daytime and hope the door would be left unguarded? No, I couldn't wait. The jewel wanted me to come and get it now. Then my problem was solved for me. In the distance from outside the palace came a faint shout. It was answered a moment later from inside. Peering around the corner, I saw the guard stiffen and grip his pike. The noises from below grew louder, shouting, then someone ringing a bell. From the other end of the hallway, another guardsman poked his head in and called the guard in front of the door. "All clear, Jace?" The Jewel's guard stepped away from the door and faced the other guard. "Clear. That you, Merrick? What's going on?" In my hiding place around the corner, I crouched, ready to go. Just one more step, guard, and I'd have enough space to reach the door. Just one more step. The other guard answered. "Gate guards found footprints in the snow by the garden wall. Captain Kern has called an alert. We're searching the grounds in the palace now." Drats. I'd forgotten about footprints. Stupid. The door guard took a few more steps toward the other guard. "Well, everything's quiet up here. That's all I needed." Quick as thought, I darted from around my corner down the hallway to the door. I had the knife in my hand and jammed it into the lock as the guard turned. The lock flipped open, and as he lunged to grab me, I was in, with the door slammed behind me and the knife snicking the lock closed again. I whirled, panting, and surveyed the room. Dark curtained windows, stone floor, gilded pictures, padded chairs, and a desk. And standing beside a canopied bed was the Duchess, her eyes wide, her gray-streaked red hair in 2 braids, a lit candle in one hand and a knife in the other. "Who are you, and what do you want?" she asked sharply. The candle flame flickered, sending shadows reeling across the walls and ceiling. She said something else, but I could hardly hear her. The Jewel's call was so loud. From behind me, the door thudded with the guards' blows. One of them shouted for help. My eyes were drawn toward a carved wooden box on a table across the room. Yes, of course it was there. Its call washed over me like a crashing wave. I crossed the room to the box. It was locked. I didn't have time for this. "Keys?" I asked. The Duchess, who had not moved from beside the bed, looked down her nose, proud. "I will not give the keys." Oh well, the knife had worked fine so far. I stuck it into the keyhole, and it didn't so much turn the lock as explode it, as if the Jewel inside wanted to get out as much as I wanted to get in. The lid of the box burst open. Behind me, the Duchess's door shuddered with the guard's efforts to get in. Inside the box, the necklace was arrayed against a lining of dark green velvet, and in the center of the necklace, the leaf green jewel glimmered as if it was lit from within. I reached in and cut it from the necklace with my knife, prying it from its setting. It came into my hand as if it was part of me. I was meant to have it. From behind, the door splintered open. The guards bowled into the room, shouting, "He's got a knife!" somebody yelled. As I turned, a heavy weight hit me, and I crashed to the floor with a guardsman on top of me. The knife and my jewel flew out of my hands and skidded across the polished stone floor. The guards held me down, and I struggled, kicking and twisting. I bit a guard's hand, and his grip relaxed for a moment, and I squirmed away. Then there was a flash of light, a pain in my head, and I was out.